Your business isn't there to fulfill every single one of your needs. So you have to get your needs filled outside of your business. And if you don't, you could end up resenting your business instead of loving what you do. This is the Dog Sitter's House podcast. Hello, good morning, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you. Welcome back to the Dog Sitter's House podcast. I appreciate you being here. Let me ask you a question. How many business owners have you known in your lifetime who are not only successful in the sense that they, earn a good living, but that they also have time for a life and loved ones without killing themselves, right? Without the burnout, and who still actually love what they do? Pretty rare, right? I'm guessing it's probably a low number because most business owners drive themselves into the ground working all of the time, 24/7, which causes them to fall out of love with what they do naturally, right? I mean, you and I both know that if we're working nonstop, then before you know it, we don't have anything left for anything else, for anybody else, for ourselves, for the rest of our lives, nothing. And I speak to a lot of dog sitters, and from my experience, the majority of them are experiencing either feast or famine. This little middle ground that we're all striving for is unattainable for some reason. Now, you could be in the building stage of your dog sitting business, or you could be working like a dog night and day, pun intended. In fact, the dogs under your care probably have it better than you do. Right? So, it's just that very few business owners find themselves in this blissed middle ground where business is steady. They're earning a great living, even 6 figures possibly. Yet they still have time for recharge, quality time with loved ones, and room for a life outside of their business, which by default basically allows them the breaks that they need from their business to remain in love with what they do. And you and I both know that too much of a good thing is bad. And that's exactly what happens when your entire life is consumed by your business. It's like a relationship. How many romantic relationships end well or continue to live happily ever after if they are together 24/7, right? If they don't ever take time apart, it usually doesn't end up too well, does it? It's the exact same thing for your business. Your business isn't there to fulfill every single one of your needs. So you have to get your needs filled outside of your business. And if you don't, you could end up resenting your business instead of loving what you do. And what are the consequences of that? You could end up feeling like you're trapped, like you've created this prison, this slave prison that you can't escape. And chances are you started your own business so that you could actually enjoy what you do for a living. Chances are you don't envision being so burned out that you want to quit your business, because that's a catch-22, right? If you quit your business, then what are you going to do? So that's why I wanted to discuss the secret sauce on how you have a thriving business while sustaining your love for it at the same time. Because I don't think that this is talked about enough. yes, we have to find ways to earn money. We have to find ways to have lots of business and stay booked all the time and market and all, we need all of those details. But it's also really important to take a step back sometimes, either in the beginning and during your business growth, and just make sure that you are implementing these secret sauces I'm going to discuss today, which is not so much of a secret, right? But I'm going to remind you of these secret sauces today that are so important to make sure your business is built upon. That is the foundation of your business, whether you're just getting started or you're already in Burnoutville, so that you can turn it around. Because you know, why is this so important to me? Because if a home-based dog sitter is burned out, working 24/7, or not earning enough money, either one, right? You're either feast or famine, right? If you're in either of those stages, it's really hard to sustain the business, not to mention love it as you go, right? And if you don't sustain the business and you have to close up and you have to go get a job, then that's one less place for dogs to visit that could be a healthier, safer, and more fulfilling place for dogs to go when their parents are away. The mistake that most business owners make that causes them to be stuck in either feast or famine is actually very, very simple. The simple mistake they make is focusing on making money. I know, sounds crazy. Like, we all need to make money. Your business has to earn money. Duh, you have to focus on making money. Yes, 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 yes. I get it. But they put all of their focus on that, right? And that's because, in my observation of the years and in working alongside multiple 6 and 7-figure business owners, the number one thing that they'll tell you is that building a business to make money is the worst and the hardest way to build a business. When you focus on earning money, you get an entirely different outcome than if you focus on what really matters at the heart of it all. You might do things and make decisions in a certain way because it's motivated by earning money instead of motivated by things that actually matter and are most important for the long haul. What will automatically grow your business while maintaining your love for your business are 3 things that I have identified to be true with all business owners who have achieved both success and an eternal love for their business. It's infectious. When you get around business owners that absolutely are thriving, plus inspired and in love with their business every day, it is infectious. And that's the kind of business we dream of when we start our business, isn't it? When you started out, you dream of having this amazing company that you get to do what you love every day, and you get to have the freedom that you want, and yet you still get to earn the money that you need, of course, but we have all these expectations. But it's so easy to get into the trap of just needing money and earning money, especially in the beginning when you're not earning much. And so you'll do anything to earn a buck. So let's go over these 3 things I've identified today. Okay, the first one is to know thy values. What the heck is that? Well, first of all, you want to know them because when you have clarity on what your most important values are, you can easily build a business that aligns with your values. Now, that is like a word that's become popular over the last decade. I say align with this, align with that, align with your true self. So it might sound a little cliche at this point, but it's so true. And you already know that when when your work aligns with your highest values, you naturally enjoy what you do. For example, if your top values are, let's say, personal growth and contribution, and let's say your health, and you flip burgers at McDonald's for a living, chances are you won't feel like your top values, growth, contribution, and health, are being fulfilled. Okay. Because I don't know how much personal growth or contribution you're going to have, be able to have at McDonald's. Right. Yeah, sure. You can make some people happy, smile, make them laugh, whatever, if you're up front doing customer service. But if you're just in the back, flipping burgers, I don't know if you're going to get a real sense of, contributing each day. Right. And there's been some personal or behavioral, human behavioral studies, and some of the personal growth gurus out there will tell you that contribution is actually one of the highest values that someone can hold, that gives them joy, peace, fulfillment in return. So, okay, I'm getting off course here. But if your top values are, say, security or certainty, then, flipping burgers might actually align with that better. I'm not telling you to go out and flip burgers if you value security and certainty. We all do to an extent. But I'm saying if this is your highest values, then something like flipping burgers aligns better, because you'll find yourself perfectly content with having the security of knowing that every day you're going to walk in and have a job flipping burgers, and you're going to get a paycheck at the end of the week, and you're going to see the same people that you work with every day, and you're going to have the certainty of all of those things too, right? The certainty that you know what you're going to do when you walk in there. You're going to be flipping burgers, There's no change. There's no, aha, gotcha. Actually, you're going to be doing this today, If you're assigned flipping burgers, that is your job. You have certainty that's what you're going to do every day. So it's predictable. A lot of people need a high level of security and certainty. And I'm here to tell you, if you're in business for yourself and an entrepreneur of any sort, chances are you are going to have to lower your value on security and certainty, because there is nothing certain in the world of entrepreneurship, as you probably already have figured out. But for myself, I knew before getting into dog sitting that my top values are contribution, they're personal and spiritual growth, and they are health. So yes, those were my examples. So I designed my dog sitting business, and I did so in a way that I always kind of kept my eye on the goalpost to make sure that as I designed it, it would continue to fulfill these top values of mine, or at least, contribute to it in helping to fulfill them in some way or another. And if you have similar values, dog sitting works well with those, because you're always contributing to both your human and your furry customers, right? And as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you basically have no choice but to grow. Like, if you want to grow your business, you yourself have to grow first on the inside, because it's often said it's like personal and or spiritual even growth on steroids. Right? Whether you like it or not. And if you value your health, you can actually work from home and avoid all of the birthday parties at the office and all the sweets and everything that everybody brings in and all the carbs and sugar, or going out to lunch every day and eating, unhealthy restaurant food. And you can make food at home. You can, take the time to make healthy food at home and try different things. And I mean, of course, not to mention, you get to be super active, because if you're watching a bunch of dogs, you and I both know you can't just be sitting on the couch all day watching TV and eating bonbons, as they say, right? Because the dogs will not let you. Okay. Someone always has to go potty. Someone always wants to play. Someone always wants to bark. Someone's always getting into something. Someone's always bringing you a toy, you name it. Like, you may as well just get your bum up off the couch and get active with those dogs, so you're fulfilling both their needs and your health needs. So it's a perfect fit. Now, this isn't to say that these are the only values that align with having a dog sitting business. Of course, there are plenty more, but these are just a few examples of how you can build, your business, so that you can both enjoy your business for the long haul when you are just starting out, or even years into it, and so that you can also have a thriving business, which I will start to get into here in a little bit on the next one. But even if you have already started your business and you're in the feast stage, you can go ahead and identify your top values and begin restructuring or renovating, so to speak, your business in ways that will better align with your priorities. Because this is the great thing about being your own boss. Nothing has to be set in stone. And, I get a lot of business owners, dog sitters, asking me, well, I don't want to change the service, or I don't want to get rid of this service that we offer, even though I hate doing it. It consumes all of my energy. It drains me of my joy, you know, all that. And they're like, but I have to keep it because I already offer it. No, it's your business. And in fact, it's the opposite, because the more you start doing things you dislike, the more you dislike what you do, the more you're going to attract negativity, the negative customers, the customers that you don't want, that are more difficult, or just attract scarcity and lose business, right? Okay, so I got off track. Let me reel myself back in here and get back on to the second thing that the most successful long-term dog sitters do. And that is that they define their dog world view. What? Okay, so yes, I made that one up. That's what I'm calling it. I probably could have come up with something better, but that's what it is for now. Define their dog world view. So, what is this? This is basically your belief system when it comes to dogs. What do you believe they need daily? What do you believe that your clientele needs daily? If you've listened to my previous, I don't know if it was my last podcast, but one of the previous podcasts recently, I did it on defining your niche. So take your niche and tell me, like, what does your niche need? What do your type of dogs that you specify that you watch need on a daily basis? What do you believe is important to provide them with each time they're under your care? Because this not only helps to ensure that you design your dog sitting business to align with your belief system when it comes to dogs, but it also helps you to shine above and beyond your competition, because you end up taking a stand for your beliefs and the dog's needs. And this makes you stand out above other people, other dog sitters. And I also don't have to tell you that when your customer matches your beliefs about their dog's needs, then you instantly form likability. And likability is an extremely strong subconscious characteristic or phenomena, whatever you want to call it, that you could, it's one of the most strongest things that you could try to, form. And you're doing it in such an authentic way. I almost said in an authentic, it sounds inauthentic, but you're doing it in an authentic way. Whoa, that's a mouthful. And because it's so authentic, and you truly have your business set up so that it's ran in a way that fulfills all of the dog's needs the way that you see they need it, then, and your type of dogs need it, then when you meet your customers that match that, you're going to have a perfect match. You're going to have likability. You're going to have a connection. And that is priceless. When you are doing meet and greets and you're meeting somebody for the first time, it's kind of hard for them to pull away and say, no, we're going to go with the dog sitter down the street that we don't have that connection with, but she's, $10 cheaper per night, right? Because that connection is so valuable. Right. So the best thing about this is you not only end up, with more customers, because this is going to help you build a thriving business quicker, because you're going to be connecting with customers on a deeper level, but you're also going to be connecting and attracting customers that you prefer to work with because their belief system is similar to yours again. And this is another thing that leads you to loving your business for the long haul, because if you're working with people and customers that you prefer and enjoy working with, then you can be sure that you're going to continue to enjoy your business that much more and longer. And you're going to get more fulfillment because you're going to have more connections with people. You're going to have more a contribution, they're going to open up and ask you questions and you can answer, it's such a kumbaya. it's a give and take. It's really a beautiful relationship that can form, and it's so fulfilling. So always define your dog worldview and build your business around that. Now, what is an example that I could give you? I'm just going to give you the example of, how I've kind of done things. I attract and wanted to attract a lot of dogs that are more playful and energetic, and that could use a lot of mental and physical activity every day, who could also use socialization skills, a little bit of training when it comes to socialization, maybe a little bit of confidence boosting when it comes to being around their own kind. And so I made sure that when a dog comes to visit me, they get all of these needs met every day. They get some basic training for their mental stimulation. They get support in building their confidence for socialization. They get walked 2, sometimes 4 miles a day. And not only that, but they also get walked in areas that are very nature filled, right? It's not just on a busy street, on a sidewalk. It's around this big, beautiful lake, and it's trees and grass. And they really get a safari at the same time they're getting a walk. So we're really fulfilling their physical needs. And then, of course, we have all sorts of play gear and things for them to jump on, under, around, you name it, in the yard. And so I set my business up so that I'm fulfilling all these main needs for my perfect client. And when people come to me for a meet and greet, lo and behold, they see first they actually see what I do, and I put the benefits of what we do and some of the main features. So I'm first attracting those people with those type of dogs, and then they come in for the meet and greet and they see like, oh my gosh, my dog is going to have all of their needs met here today, right? Because when I was working in the corporate field and I was out on the road every day for my sales job, I would take my active, super fearless dog, Pepe Le Pew, to camp. Well, I won't say, but to a camp, a day camp, a doggy day camp, right? And and they were great. They didn't do anything wrong, but I did not like the fact that he was there with way too many dogs. He was thrown into, not literally thrown, right? But put into the section with like 50 or more dogs all at once. So traumatic, socially speaking. And luckily, he was a very confident dog, so I didn't have to worry about him too much. But I saw on some videos later on how that did stress him out. And then I saw him trying to play and he couldn't because there were too many dogs that would rush in and try to play. And so I was like, okay, he's not getting his exercise because he's just sitting around. He's learning bad behavior because he's jumping up on the attendant every time they walk into the pen because all of the dogs are doing that. And I had already trained him not to do that. So I could walk in with a handful of groceries and not be mobbed by dogs when I first walk home or walk in the door. And so, that, and then he wasn't getting any kind of training. He wasn't getting any socialization training, none of that. And I know that's not what you're expected to get at those places, which is fine. So they didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't upset with them. But when I built my place, I said, I am going to make sure that it has all of these things that I believe my dog needs that he wasn't getting at those big places. And so when I meet somebody, I explain this to them. I tell them this story. I share with them how deep my belief system runs for the needs of the dogs and how important it is to me. And they can relate and they love it. Okay. So that's going to help you build your business faster because people aren't going to just be deciding whether or not they're going to have you dog sit their dog versus the competitor down the street based on money. You see where I'm going with that? They're going to see the value is much higher with you if you can identify what your dog worldview is and build your business so that it meets all of those needs for the dogs that you want to watch. And then you display that during the meet and greets. You display that in your marketing, right? You'll grow so much faster. Okay, now the third one to move on is a big one. All right, and this is one I see that happens, unfortunately, way too often. And it saddens me. It saddens me for the dogs and it saddens me for the humans because I think in our society, we've sometimes we forget about this and we just we just go into survival mode. I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, when you have bills to pay, if you have debt, especially, like, I mean, what else are you going to do, right? So you can probably guess where I'm going with this. And the third one is do it for the love of it, not for the money. Do it for the love of it. When I first started dog sitting, I started out, I had just left the corporate world. I was in the corporate world my entire life, my entire, career from the day I got out of college. And here it had been, I don't know, almost 2 decades, I guess. And I said, you know what? I am only going to do what I love from now on for earning a living for the rest of my life. I am going to find a way to find the things that I love to do and use them in service for others in exchange for money. So that has been my goal all along. And that is why I truly believe that when I started dog sitting as a quote unquote hobbyist, yes, I know a lot of people hate the hobbyist dog sitters, but I literally started out as a hobbyist, as a little extra cash, a little, side hustle, right? That's all I thought this was going to be. But I had already, being a certified life coach, I had already defined all of my values. I already understood and defined and got clarity on my doggy worldview. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do this because I love it. And what I love doing is fulfilling the dog's needs and being active and walking them in nature and teaching them how to socialize and turning them from a scared little trembling, little dog in the corner to running around the yard playing chase with their new paw pals, because that fulfills me. All of that gives me so much joy and fills my cup every single day. But so often what I find in this business is that people are focused on making money. And I'm not trying to demonize making money. Of course, you have to earn money to stay in business, to have the service to provide to people, right? But instead of designing the type of extras, maybe let's say, for example, say you just say, I'm gonna offer dog grooming. Okay. I'm going to maybe not even grooming. Maybe you have no skills at grooming dogs. Let's just say I'm going to offer dog baths. I'm going to bathe them because they come here, they get dirty. Great. Fabulous. I mean, lots of people will take you up on that. You could totally earn extra money doing that. But let me ask you, are you going to love it 2 years from now? Is it going to consume all of your time every day? Is it going to break your back? Do you have the facility? Do you have the setup to wash dogs every single day without killing your back? Do you have a big, tall doggy wash system? Because I hope you do. If you're going to offer bathing, you're going to need the right setup. And if you love it, then great. But if you don't do it just for the money. You don't have to. Do the things that you most love doing with dogs. Like I said earlier, I like to train them. I like to give them the basic socialization skills, the basic training skills. So when I have to do that every single day, do you think I care? Heck no. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. They're cracking me up. We're having a blasty blast, So, and then I take videos of it and I put the videos in my customers' custom photo albums, and they get to see, and then they get, oh, now I'm contributing, because now they get to learn how we're doing the commands so they can stay consistent with giving the commands at home the exact same way. And we as a family can help raise this dog up to be the most balanced, happy dog in the world, right? So it comes from the love. And when you love what you do, when you love all the services that you offer, it shines. You shine. Your dogs shine when they're there. They're shining on the videos. They're shining when they're running into your place because they love it so much and they get all of their needs so much. All of them met, rather, so much that the customers, the human customers, your human clients are going to be like, wow, like this is extremely beyond and above anything I could have imagined for my dog. And they're going to be going, here, take my money. Right. And then also that means you can charge what it's worth. You can charge less than what it's worth, in fact, and still be earning an amazing living without having to overbook yourself at the same time, so that you can keep a nice intimate pack in your home-based model that is attractive to both the customer and to you, so that you don't get burned out and crash and close up shop, right? So hopefully that all makes sense, because I'm pretty sure that sums it up. I mean, just think about that. Sit down, write out your values, write out your dog world views and the dogs that you most like to serve, what their needs are, what you can provide for them. And then figure out the things that you most love to do and focus on building a business that aligns with those three things. And the money will just roll in effortlessly. It's a beautiful thing. I'm here to tell you. Case and point, living proof right here. It is a beautiful thing. In fact, the only problem you're going to have then is telling people no, because you're going to have to start telling more people no, because you're not going to be able to fit all of the dogs into your place, and you're going to be constantly, building that wait list. So that's a good problem to have. We like those problems, don't we? Okay, guys, I think this was a pretty short one, which I'm actually sorry. I just thought it was a pretty simple one to discuss. And I, believe it or not, have been running my tootsies off since I woke up this morning, and it's already mid-afternoon and I haven't even ate yet. And the reason being is that there's a massive hurricane in southern states of the United States recently, and I was able to use our fabulous community, our fabulous members of the palace here, and ask the customers to contribute to donate goods and supplies for the hurricane survivors. And I am telling you, it is the most wonderful feeling. Again, the contribution fulfillment is off the Richter scale right now, and I am so proud of my community. So this is the cool thing, is when you have an amazing client base, you can use it for good in the world, just like beyond your clients, beyond your dogs, right? You can start using it for things as a community that can help serve other communities when they are in need. And I've been packing. I got a rental car, an SUV, and the amount of things that our members brought us for this donation run was so plentiful that I had to go back to the rental car place and get a bigger vehicle, y'all. It was amazing. And the entire morning, I've done nothing but consolidate and organize donations and pack them in the car, in the minivan, right? And it's so cool. It actually all fits. I can still see out the rearview mirror just barely. And I'm headed down to North Carolina in the morning. So I apologize. This one was a little short because I'm crazy busy, but I wanted to get this done so that we had this set up for you after I come back. Okay, so y'all have an amazing day. Go figure out what you love, what your worldview is for the dogs, and know thy values. And I promise you, if you align those things with the design or even reconstruction or restructuring or renovation of your business, I promise you, not only is your business going to be thriving, but you're going to be loving it each and every single day for the long haul. All right, my furry friends, happy tails to you until we meet again.